Hello, friends, and welcome back to another day. We're getting real because you've already read the books, right? You've tracked the macros, you've done the cold plunges, maybe you've done the weeks, months, or even years of talk therapy, maybe you've done a course. So, why the heck do you still feel exhausted and disconnected? Well, I'm here to remind you that you're not broken. You're just stuck in a pattern, replaying a trauma loop, and now you're safe to change. Today, you're going to leave with the information and the permission, not that you need it, but I'm going to give it to you to change, complete these loops, break out of it, and create the you and life that's limitless and full of energy so we're not stuck in this push and shove energy. What's up? I'm Caroline. If you're new here, I share my life experience, lived experience, and all the golden nuggets I've picked up along the way from my professional training to the ups and downs that I've been in to allow this new chapter to unfold within you. Because I've watched my chapters unfold, and all I want to do is give those nuggets back to someone else. You're probably stuck in survival mode because 99% of the people that I interact with are, and we're diving into that. We're talking about the signs and symptoms that mean that you might be in survival mode, how this manifests in your body, in your mind, in your life, and what comes from the state of being. Because the truth is, your nervous system is not actually regulated, and you can still do all of the things and not get the results that you're after. So let's create massive shifts without needing another strict plan, another detox, or another self-help book. Although a lot of those things are great, we use them as tools when they're needed, not trying to fix the root. So, what even is survival mode? Survival mode is the term that I have used and coined for functional freeze. So you might have heard of our stress response. Functional freeze is when your body's been stuck in that stress response, that fight or flight, that sympathetic nervous system response for so long that you're now in this frozen state because your body has given all that it can. It's when your body has been operating for a 100 for so long that you're burnt out, you have lost your drive, and your body is struggling to keep up. So every day feels like a fight just to keep the train going. And I can't talk about survival mode without talking about trauma. And you've likely heard about trauma, yes, but have you heard about trauma in this way? So everyone experiences trauma, right? We got the big T traumas, the adverse childhood experience, the event, you were in the ER, your mom died, the big things. Maybe you're abused, had an alcoholic parent, were adopted as a kid, were abandoned, had a switch, had a house fire. These big things that from the outside we can look at and be like, oh, wow, yeah, those are traumatic. And then we have what's called the small T traumas. Maybe you've heard that term before. I love it because the small T traumas are just as impactful as the big T traumas. A trauma is anything that leads your body to feel unsafe, triggers this fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response. And in most cases, since we're not given the tools, and our parents were given the tools, and their parents were given the tools, this emotional loop, this trauma loop stays open. A small T trauma could look like you were a kid, you wanted to get your mom's attention, she was working, and she said later. It can look like, being bullied at school, whatever that meant for you, excluded from the groups, or made fun of for wearing a certain thing, or maybe your brothers were really mean to you all growing up and you never felt accepted, or your sister got the cool fancy two-wheeler bike and you were stuck with the hand-me-down tricycle and you always got her hand-me-downs. Whatever it was that led your body to feel unsafe, we're putting it in the bucket of trauma. And that word can be so overutilized in this day and age. However, it's the term that means your body felt unsafe. It could even mean you fell on your face when you were 4 years old because you were wearing new shoes and your mom laughed at you. Not things that we could consciously be like, that was a traumatic experience, but if it leaves your body to feel unsafe, we're calling it a trauma. So whether it was a real life stressor, like your house was on fire, you got in a car accident, or as a perceived stressor, like your mom ignoring you, your sister laughing at you, the response in your body is biology. And it's biology, it's the fight, flight, freeze, fawn response is in our DNA, in our animal bodies, because our world has evolved a lot faster than our biology. And we used to have to hunt all day and spend all of our energy making sure we were fed, we had safe shelter, we could have water, and we were with our families. And so this immediate response in our body that turns on the sympathetic nervous system, where you get sweaty, your heart races faster, your blood pressure increases, your blood goes to your major muscles, your digestion stops, you hyper focus on the immediate moment and everything that could go wrong, and your prefrontal cortex turns off, and your adrenals pump cortisol, and all of the things. We can get into the biology of it later and the physiological response. But because our world has developed so much faster than this response, a lot of the traumas or the triggers to this system are perceived stressors. So if you are someone who had a quote unquote perfect childhood, nothing went wrong when you were growing up, I want to give you full permission right here, right now, to claim that you may have open trauma loops, open emotional loops, I'll get into that in a second, and experiences that caused your body to feel unsafe. It's often the people that have these smaller T traumas that are building and building and building, these micro traumas that may eventually lead you to bigger traumas because of the way that you act in the world, that don't get the help that they need because it doesn't look so immediate, right? I'm someone who had a quote unquote perfect childhood. I had everything I needed. I always had shelter. I had two parents in a household. We had cars that worked. I did my extracurricular activities, but there were experiences that stacked up that led my body to feel unsafe, that led to a lot of dysfunction. And because it got so massive, I was able to get help. But a lot of people don't recognize that they need help. And so I've been talking about these emotional loops. I kind of just think about it in a circle that has an open end to it. And what happens when you feel unsafe, when you experience this big or little T trauma, anything that feels unsafe, is your body has that biological, physiological reaction that we talked about. Your body has a reaction. And in that moment, you have two choices. And a lot of this we gather from when we're little. So think of like a 4 to 8-year-old right now. You have an experience, your body has a response, and you have two choices. Number one is to perceive the situation as, wow, that person is focusing on something else. Wow, that person is responding from their trauma responses and it actually has nothing to do with me. Wow, that person didn't actually mean that. They're just in a bad mood. Or that person is dysregulated. It has nothing to do with me. Option number two is, why did I deserve that response? What's wrong with me? What do I need to fix? What do I need to change? Why did that person respond to me that way? What did I do? It's to internalize that experience and change you to fit the circumstance. And as a child, you do not have the bird's eye view that we can adapt with when we're adults. I mean, a lot of adults need to work on this skill, but when you're an adult, you can see another perspective in a situation. When you're a child trying to survive, your parent, your teacher, your guardians, you're relying on them for survival. So it's in your best interest to internalize the situation and make it about you. So then you start stacking up list after thing of, this is wrong with me. This is what I need to do to get attention. I need to do all these things just to survive and be accepted by these people. And that creates an open loop. Because if you were in that situation, you're like, wow, that person's really dysregulated. To close the emotional loop, you feel your feelings, you move that energy out of your body, and you move along. If you are not able to acknowledge what's going on, normalize it, and validate it in the moment as a child, if your parents aren't able to do that for you, if no one's there to walk you through that process or learn how to expel these emotions, feel the feelings, validate them, and get them out of your body, they sit and they stay there. And this is why when you're a kid, you run to mommy for a hug. When you go to somebody for security and safety. Because when you're a child, you haven't learned to self-regulate that. Because there's a reason why most kids need until 18 or even 25 to live with their parents for support and for survival. Because humans are not giraffes. We cannot walk 10 seconds after we're born and start fending for ourselves. We need community. So, this is why adults, teenagers, children, whatever, start getting these coping mechanisms. Because having that unresolved emotional loop is uncomfortable. It's energy and emotions that get stuck in your body. This is why people start smoking, because it suppresses that. This is why people like to drink at night, to wind down for the day, because it suppresses and numbs and disconnects. This is why scrolling on your phone is so satisfying, because it takes you out of your body. This is why people binge on food or sugar or eat the treat every single day, because it gives you this false sense of security. This is why people stay in relationships even when they're harmful or dysregulated, because it gives them a false sense of security, because they have not learned how to close the emotional loops, self-source that safety, get that energy out of their body, and move on. So, if you remember, we started this talking about survival mode. And the reason that you're stuck in survival mode is because you have accumulated all of these emotional loops, these trauma loops that are not complete. And now you are doing everything you can to feel safe, secure, productive, okay, loved, worthy, enough. And guess what that looks like? Overworking, hustling, proving, all of the overachieving things. But another big flag that you're stuck in this survival mode and trying to overcompensate is maybe you eat clean all the time, but you're still bloated. You have a great skincare routine, you use the clean products, but your skin is always breaking out. You meticulously count every single calorie, but you're not losing the weight. You try to manipulate your body to look a certain way to finally feel confident. You're obsessed with these self-help books. You go to therapy endlessly without feeling like your life changes. You have massive period issues. Maybe you have PMS symptoms like painful cramps that you can't go to work, or you bleed a lot, or you have a long list of exes because you can't stay stationary at one place. You're always chasing that next achievement. You work 24/7. You neglect your sleep, your health. You're relying on medication just to numb your anxiety. You get 8 hours of sleep, yet you're exhausted. You have brittle nails. You have irregular digestion, mood swings, frequent injury. You're not connected to your hunger cues. You have intense cravings. You have binge and restrict. Whew. Take a big breath. And know that if you relate to anything or this stirred something up in you, I want you to know that it's not a willpower problem to fix. These are nervous system patterns that feel normal to you because they're familiar. And in order to cope, survive, and move on, you've labeled them as normal, put them under the rug, and continued on. And I need to make a huge call out. You may think that some of these things are you acting from a place of self-love. But if the underlying unconscious motivator is rooted in fear, urgency, control, overcompensating, they're still rooted in survival in an attempt for you to close these emotional and trauma loops. These are not issues to fix. They're messages to listen to, and actually the thing that you need to lean into, because every single one of those coping mechanism or symptom or signal or disease is exactly what can uncover the root emotional or trauma loop that we can close. So we're approaching this with so much love and compassion, because a lot of these messages were passed down from generation to generation, from the world, from culture, and our bodies are always here supporting us. Our minds are here to support us. But when we're stuck in this survival mode, We're operating from our animal brain, doing everything we can just to move on and survive and be okay. And you're not here just to be okay. You're here to thrive and create a life that you freaking love, that blows your mind every single day, right? That feels easy. Yes, you work hard. Yes, you show up to the things that you love, but you do it because you love them and they energize you. They don't drain you. So again, all of these signals and symptoms are our bodies screaming at us for attention, for us to tap in with love, presence, and honestly, to slow the fuck down. There's nowhere to be, nowhere to go. There's no race. Time isn't real if you want to go that path. All we have is every single present moment. So we need to break these cycles so you can start showing up with the person that you want to be, not the person that you were. Moving from control to care, from punishment or overcompensating to partnership with your body. I've had many phases of my life where I've tried to control absolutely everything, from my nutrition to my health to my income to my jobs to the way I look to the way that I was perceived to my relationships, and it turns into these massive cycles of burnout. Because we can actually not control anything in this life except for ourselves. But we try to control it all to give us this sense of security. Because we haven't created it within, because we have all these open loops, and we've dysregulated our body because we've kept it in this fight or flight for so long. And the healing doesn't come through micromanaging all these little things and figuring out everything that's wrong. So if that's already coming up for you, let's throw it down. We just need to create safety in your body again. So now that we've acknowledged what's really going on and touched the start of this process, how can you actually rewire your mindset, your body, and your nervous system to have a foundation of safety and security instead of always trying to overcome these open loops, these fears, these unconscious deep foundations of unworthy, not good enough, what have you? I use 5 pillars in my program, and I'm going to give you all 5 of those pillars right here, right now, so you can start integrating into your life. Number 1, how you show up in one thing is how you show up in everything. So in number 1, we're going to talk about fuel, nutrition, food, how you fuel yourself. And I'm not going to ask you to change what you do right now, just how you do it. Every time you sit down for a meal, see that as fuel for your body. You're not seeing it as a way to change or manipulate or make your body smaller. See it as fuel. Fuel for your body, because you have this awesome human body that shows up for you every single day, regardless of what you do for it, what you do to it, what you put it through, what you tell it. So give it some love and intention. Take 3 big breaths before you eat every single meal. Thank you for this food. Nourish it to my body. Because how you show up in one place is how you show up in everything. So that is something that everyone does every day. And make the shifts there. And then if you like to work out, if you like to exercise, pillar number 2 is to do that from a place of celebration and regulation. Start having an intention with your movement. Am I going to the gym because I love feeling strong? I want to keep my muscle mass. I want to keep my bone density so that as I age, I can stay out of a wheelchair and out of an assisted living facility and out of the hospital. I'm going to go on a walk right now to reconnect with myself, to focus on my breath, to exercise my dog that I love, to be in nature, to connect, to get the sun on my skin. Not because I have to hit a certain step count or I'm going to get fat, or because I need to lose weight. Move from a place of celebration and honor. Eat from a place of love and intention. And number 3 is align your daily habits, all of them, from this place of centering and self-respect. And I'm a huge advocate for your morning routine. There is no magical morning routine that works for every single one except putting yourself first. Like I talked about, this survival mode, this need to overcompensate and prove that is going on unconsciously in your body and brain and life starts the second you open your eyes. So can you give yourself just 10 minutes of connected, introspective time? A lot of tools that I like to use are meditation, breath work, walking outside, sitting in the sun, making my morning tea or breakfast with intention before I get on my phone, before I get all caught up in other people's problems and their perspectives, even before I show up for my clients. I make sure I put myself first, connect with me, tap into my knowledge, tap into my inner knowing, and use that as a guide. And remember, we're slowing the fuck down, people. Slow the fuck down. Give yourself 10 minutes every morning just to be with you and watch the magic happen. The magic shifts occur throughout the rest of your day. Set the tone with you at the forefront. Because I know you believe that a life can be easy and flowy and energized. And when you start every morning like that, you not only start rewiring your unconscious to align with that, you rewire your nervous system to be okay with it. A little side note here, mindset work is so important. I talk about it a ton, but only 20% of signals are sent from your brain to your body. 80% of signals are sent from your body to your brain. So when you talk about manifestation, when we talk about alignment, when we talk about whatever it is you make sense to you, we're actually doing that from our bodies, from our nervous system. That glass ceiling you keep hitting is because that's where your nervous system taps out and says, nope, we can't welcome in anymore. So align your day with you at the center. And then yes, the mindset work is so important. We need to uncover the unconscious messages that live in our body, look at them, acknowledge them, send them on their way, close the loops if needed. It's not from a place of judgment or trying to get rid or fix, but we can't heal what we can't see. We can't fix what we can't feel. So we need to shine a light, do the mindset work to uncover these subconscious, unconscious messaging and programming that lives in the dark and runs up to 95% of your life without you even knowing it. And then the fifth pillar is to regulate your nervous system. Like I talk about how you start your day, what you calibrate your nervous system to, what you feel calm in, what you feel ease with, what you feel receivership with, what you feel stillness with becomes your foundation. So if you're searching these false senses of security in an income, in a relationship, in an achievement, in a job, in a way your body looks, in whatever it is, that is not real safety. You're just keeping your nervous system dysregulated because that's what you know. So we need to, after we uncover the unconscious beliefs, regulate your nervous system to actually feel calm and at ease and still. And I've walked through these pillars many times myself. And it's so important to just acknowledge where you are with compassion, but then do something about it. This isn't an opportunity to turn it into a shame cycle. Because like I said, I've walked through it a few times and sometimes it leads into these shame cycles. So you can follow the programs, you can do everything right, but most people leave out my third, fourth, and fifth pillar. Because that's when you actually embody and integrate it and put it into your daily life. You can learn about this stuff all day long, and I'm sure you have, right? You're watching this or listening to this, and you probably listened to another podcast or read another book. So stop learning about it and just start doing something about it. Grab one of the nuggets from my 5 pillars and make the shift. So give yourself permission to slow down, to listen, to choose you, to start every day fresh, and to start trusting yourself again. Because your body knows best. 80% of your signals come from your body, so start treating your body like your highest priority. Use your mind. Harness the power of your mind. I have a 3-part series. You can scroll back and look at it on harnessing the power of your mind and supporting it out of the survival programming and survival mode. And I invite you to dig a little deeper if you want. So if you'd like, grab a pen and paper, open your notes app, whatever it is, and ask yourself these 3 questions to uncover what's underneath. So, what messages did you receive as a child about worthiness, your abilities, or love? What messages did you receive as a child about worthiness, abilities, or love? And that will kind of help uncover those programming, those stories that created that foundation. Number 2 is, when did I receive attention from others? Did you receive attention when you achieved an A on your test? Or maybe when you acted out and made a rumpus with your siblings? Maybe you only received attention when you scored at the soccer game. Maybe you received attention when you did something bad. Maybe you didn't receive attention at all. This will start to uncover what you're drawn to and the patterns you're engaging in as an adult and why. And then number 3 is, what behaviors were praised? Kind of goes along. Attention is one thing, but praise is another thing. So positive reinforcement. When you were growing up, how did you receive praise? Was it only when you were performing to someone else's standard or expectation? Or was it when you were in alignment? It's probably the first 2, right? Most of us get stuck in that. Just uncover and acknowledge. I take all of my clients through 4 pillars. We acknowledge, mend, embody, so then we can integrate. And I walked you through how we do that today, because in my one-on-one coaching program, your lifestyle revamp, we go all in, right? We uncover the whole spew of unconscious beliefs. We rewire, regulate your nervous system, that integrate habits, change your intentions, so then you can move on for the rest of your life with a new, strong foundation. So if you're ready for a deeper and even more customized transformation, apply for your lifestyle revamp. The link will be in the show notes below. I would love to connect with you, because the root of it heals all those symptoms we talked about. Yet you've been trying to heal all the symptoms from an above approach, right? Fix your energy, fix the fatigue, fix your body, lower the weight, whatever it is. But we need a bottom-up approach, getting to the root, closing those loops, and moving on from there. It's brave of you to embark on this journey. I'm so proud of you. And I encourage you to listen to this 2 more times, because the first time you listen to something, your reticular activating system is primed to pick out the things that make sense to you. So give it another listen, gather some more golden nuggets, and apply them to your life and watch the shifts happen. You're a rock star. Keep going, Tiger.